TitleMatchNetwork.com.
The working
Had a lot of
process.
trouble breaking in. Yeah, had a lot of trouble. When I first broke in with Fritz, they're like, okay, we're going to do 10 minutes. In my first match, a lot of guys, break. If you're breaking in, always bring your gear with you whenever you work. Of course, I was breaking in. I brought my gear. We're in the old Sportatorium in downtown Dallas. Gino Hernandez's partner didn't show up. They said, you got your gear? I said, yes, sir, I got my gear. They said, go get it. Boom. So I was in the ring. Always do the deal. He'd say, geez, if I could only think of a finish. Oh, I got it, the claw. He'd stick the claw in. But, I worked with David Manning and all the Von Erich boys, trying to just learn, just hitting the ropes and stuff like that. And of course, back then, like I said, I didn't have a whole lot of training. I went in the ring, and of course, I just had a mustache back then. I kept twisting my mustache, and Gino was like, quit twisting that mustache. Because, in football, I haven't played football my whole life, and you got 10 other guys, you got a helmet and shoulder pads, the fans are 50, yards or however far away from you, and all of a sudden you're wrestling, you're in a pair of short shorts and high patent leather boots, the fans are right there looking at you. It's a tough transition.
Yeah. Were there any times where they really tested you to try to make you quit or really see if your heart was into wrestling?
No. Because like I said, back then, 6'3", 280, had an amateur background. It was a whole different deal. Back then, they wouldn't sue you, brother. So I lived with, it was a different deal back then.
Yeah.
Well, Kerry, Kerry was kind of like a lost soul. He was the original Dizzy Blonde. The whole Von Erich story is a tragedy, with 4 or 5 boys dead, and 3 on purpose, 1 by accident. They had so much so soon. They were young boys when I first met them. They already had their own home. They had 4 or 5 cars. They had women. They had drugs. They had everything as a young guy. So it's only understandable that they just kept going until it killed them.
Did you realize you had the opportunity to wrestle at the Dallas Sportatorium, that famous building early in your career? Did you realize what kind of famous building you were in, or was it something special?
No, it was like WrestleManias and stuff. People say, or the Survivor Series. You or the Royal Rumble. You won the first Royal Rumble or whatever it was. I'm not sure. I'm like, no. Back then, you had no idea. You were working. You're making a payday.
Okay. What are your memories of winning the first Royal Rumble back in '88?
Yeah, it didn't.
Didn't mean anything?
Didn't mean nothing. A lot of folks asked me that question, and it was just another night's work. Didn't realize the significance of it at that point.
Okay.
Of course, back then you did the show that night, and you were in, Madison Square Garden the next night. It was just another night at work.
Yeah, what did it all?
TitleMatchNetwork.com.